Now, we need to round the numbers below to the nearest hundredth. So first, we have 0.737. The hundredths digit is always the second digit after the decimal point. So, to round to the nearest hundredth, we can circle our hundredths digit and then underline the digit to the right, so underline the thousandths digit. Now we have a 7 in our thousandths, and we know that if we have 5 or more, that means we need to round up. So this 3 in our hundredths becomes a 4, and digits to the left of what we've circled always stay the same. So we have 0.74. Now on a number line, we can see that 0.737 is closer to 0.74 than it is to 0.73. So, because it's closer to the next multiple of 100th, we know that we need to round up. Now we have 2.508. So we find our hundredths digit, and we're looking to the right, so we're looking at our thousandths digit to decide whether we need to round up or down. We have an 8 in our thousandths, so again we're rounding up, because if the digit is 5 or more, we always round up. So the 0 in our hundredths becomes a 1, and digits to the left stay the same, so we have 2.51. On a number line, we can see that 2.508 is closer to 2.51 than it is to 2.5 or 2.50, so we can see that we need to round up. Notice, when we're rounding to the nearest hundredth, we only ever have 2 digits after the decimal point. Rounding to the nearest hundredth is the same as rounding to 2 decimal places. Whether we're rounding to the nearest hundredth or to 2 decimal places, we need to make sure that when we round, we only show 2 digits after the decimal point. Now we have 5.704, so we can find our hundredths digit and look to the right. We have a 4, so we can see that we're rounding down, because if the digit is 4 or less, we round down. So the 0 in our hundredths stays a 0, and digits to the left stay the same, so we have 5.70. But usually, when we write decimals, we don't include zeros on the end. So here, even though we're rounding to the nearest hundredth, we only have tenths in our answer, and that's because when we were rounding to the nearest hundredth, we still had a 0 in our hundredths. We can look at 5.704 on a number line. So the hundredths it's between are 5.70, which remember is the same as 5.7, and 5.71. But because it's closer to 5.70, it rounds down. So we could write 5.70 as our answer, but usually we don't write zeros if they're on the end of decimals. Finally, we have 6.183. So we find our hundredths, which is always the second digit after the decimal point, and we look to our thousandths. We have a 3, so we can see that we're rounding down. That means the 8 stays the same, and digits to the left of what we've circled always stay the same, so we have 6.18. And we can see on our number line that 6.183 is closer to 6.18 than it is to 6.9, so that's why we round down. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that was helpful. If you're a teacher or a parent, then please subscribe or go to keystage2maths.com to download resources for this lesson and many more. That's all for now. I'll see you in the next video.